Ay caramba! Hey everyone. Well, welcome to our new show. And, I've been thinking. I've been hearing a lot of people say, I hear a lot of people talk about The Simpsons and all that. Believe it or not, I am a Simpson fan. But I'm going to be talking about a Simpson character a superhero from The Simpsons. And I'm not talking about the Bumblebee Man, because he's not a superhero, he's just a comic relief for the Spanish channel. I'm not talking about Duff Man, because he's an icon for Duff beer. And I'm not talking about Radioactive Man. Well, I'm kind of be talking about him, but not exactly what I'll be talking about. The hero I'm going to be talking about is Bartman. You see, folks, there was a comic book company who goes by the name of Comic Bongo Group. It's a comic book company who does all the Simpsons comics, and maybe some Family Guy stuff, too. But before I'm going to tell you about the comic itself, about Bartman, first, a little history. The Simpsons started an HBO series from the Tracy Ullman Show as a short skit, and it was all created by this man, Matt Groening. What? You want to know what he really looks like? Even though the Simpsons sketch of him kind of looks like him, but okay, here's what he really looks like. This is Matt Groening himself, the one who created The Simpsons. And therefore created a dysfunctional family called The Simpsons from the Tracy Ullman Show from 1987 to 1989. But The Simpsons got so popular, and of course, believe it or not, some of the voice actors from the Tracy Ullman Show did do the voices for The Simpsons. And some of you may know. You may know him. He does the voice of Homer Simpson. And this is the actress, the comedian, who does the voice of Marge. They first started in the Tracy Ullman Show before they ended up doing the voice of The Simpsons. And of course, I was quite a Simpson fan that I had the urge of collecting these. I got seasons 1 to 5. Six to 10. 11, 12, 13, and 14. Yeah, I was so hooked to The Simpsons, I wanted to collect the whole series. And, from all those series, when the show finally ended, it always relieved my biggest memory of laughter and hilarity that The Simpsons show had given us throughout centuries. Oh, for crying out loud, is it still on? Seriously? 30th season? I don't believe this. I am still a Simpsons fan, but sometimes they need to stop being a dead horse with another dead horse. But anyway, from one of the discs, I bet you are wondering, how did Bartman first appeared? Well, surprisingly, Bartman started from this episode. 3 Men in a Comic Book, Season 1, Episode 21. On this one, Bart and Lisa was going to a Comic-Con, and they said that it would cost less if if he gets a costume. So Bart Simpson puts on a mask and cape and calls himself Bartman. But the owner of the Comic-Con says, Who are you? And he said, I'm Bartman. And he was like, never heard of him, 2050. Weak buff. You know, I've been thinking, since I'm going to be doing this review of Bartman... Wait just a second. I am Grim Man! What? You think I'm gonna call myself, Michael Man? That's silly. I like Grim Man. It's a lot catchier that way. I kinda like this outfit myself. The cape and the mask and the bandana for the headgear. I should cut out more. I should do some cutting around this area. Anyway. So, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, in case any of you are going to be asking me. Yes. I have collected. I also collected Futurama as well. Volume 1, 2, 6... in these 3 movies. I know there's a 4th one, but I just don't have it. You know, I like to collect more of the Futurama than the Simpsons. Because I always have a soft spot for science fiction comedy. And if any of you don't like it, you can bite my shiny male butt! Or what Bart Simpson say, eat my shorts. Oh! Forgot something. Forgot I was supposed to tell you. Let's dig into Bartman, the best of the best, and let's see what we think about Bartman. Now, this one is not exactly in you know, unlike other graphic novels where where they put all the comic books together. From the back, you can see that they took about 3 Bartman comics and 1 Simpson comic and 1 Itchy and Scratchy all together in this. And why Itchy and Scratchy is involved in this, maybe we shall see. Now, this one was the first comic I've seen. And of course, this is what it looks like. Shows here that Bart Simpson got another F from Miss Kabapple. You know, it's pretty sad that the actress who played Mrs. Kabapple passed away. I don't know what they're gonna do for that. I mean, are they gonna make a new teacher for Bart Simpson, or have somebody do the voice for her? As for me, I miss Phil Hartman. I remember when he does the voice of Lionel Hutz, attorney at law, or hi there, I, Troy McClure. You might remember by such film as Troy McClure's Back, and oh look, it's Troy McClure. And don't forget the guy who sold the monorail. I heard that they were planning to put Phil Hartman to play Zap Brannigan on Futurama, but since he died, Billy West, the guy who does the voice of Fry and Zoidberg and Farnsworth, Farnsworth, he also did the voice of Zap Brannigan and tried to make him sound like Phil Hartman. Which he kind of did a good job, but, I don't know. When he whines, he sounds a little bit more like Billy West. Anyway, back to the show here. Up. Bart Simpson getting an F. And there's Otto, a Bart dude. And of course, watching... We fight. The Itchy and Scratchy Show. And of course, Marge being telling the kids to have fun, telling Lisa to have fun. What? You surprised I can do the impression of Marge? Tell you the truth, Marge is the only female I can do. Bart, watch your language. Homie, will you knock it off?
Oh, Marge, I can't help myself. You're one sexy MILF.
The word is elf. Anyway, Miss Kabopple, she'd rather spend a day on a vacation in a sunny beach reading some magazines and sipping some iced tea. But as usual, you can see that Milhouse and Bart Simpson went to his favorite comic book store. And look at all these versions of their Simpson version of comic books. Anger Man, Z School, Z Team, Z Babies, Z Man. It's pretty obvious. Captain Squid. And then there's this rare comic book of Captain Squid. With comic book man involved, this comic book worth a lot of money. Anyway, Bart Simpson and his friend went back to school, and they decided to have like a theater thing, watching a projector about saving the rainforest. And of course,
there's Troy McClure.
And then all of a sudden, Bart Simpson and Milhouse starts finding something very, very strange. They're in a comic book printing press. And of course, surprisingly, turns out that 3 of Bart Simpson's bullies, Jimbo and the gang, they're involved in this, printing out copies that are not exactly rare. And as Milhouse figured out that Jimbo and his gang have been printing out comic books that are not exactly authentic or not even, they're just made up copies, that's when Milhouse decided to use the Bart signal. And here comes Bartman. Imagine that. And of course, as usual, Principal Skinner always keeps on remembering his years at Vietnam. Man, he needs to get over his trauma. And now he sneaks into the company and discovered that they created, made up a copy of their favorite superhero, Elastic Man versus Captain Squid. So now, Bartman decided to have him destroyed. Jimbo and the gang got their copy and ready to send it to the comic book store. But as Bartman snatched their collection and swings over to the edge, Jimbo got the copies, and Bart Simpson, he starts hanging on to the edge, dangling in a vat of silver ink. But Bart Simpson knocked the comics away. And now all those copies are all... Actually, how about you guys see it? Bart Simpson knocks those copies down in the liquid, and they all trying to lean over to capture them, and they all fell down. But as a security guard woke up, all the boys starts hanging on to their pants. And now Jimbo laughs over one of his friends who are wearing pink underwear. And now the other kid is laughing over Jimbo because he got tighty whities. And now his pants fell off and fell into the ink. And now the security guard showed up. So now the next day, turns out that Homer was shocked that his newspaper's been cut out. And it's the newspaper of the comics caper foiled. Who is this Bartman? Come on, I mean, is Springfield that dumb? Come to think of it, is my town that dumb? I mean, to Gotham City, this is what Batman always says. Gotham is filled of superstitious, cowardly lots. That's why I dressed up as a bat to make him think I'm a apparition. Anyway, the guy who's involved in this got really peed off. So now, this, so now, comic book guy is now selling silver ink covered comics. For $200. Meanwhile, back in school, Bart Simpson go through his tests, and he's got a C+. Don't thank me. Thank Bartman. Now this was just a taster, folks. But here's the second story. Right here. In this one you see... Are those pickled eggs? Look at these things. They look like mutants.
Something's very wrong with the pickled eggs. They look all like they have faces and sharp teeth.
Now there's Wendell. He was about ready to spray on the wall so he can make fun of somebody. Ha ha! Bartman shows up. Oh, Nelson, that's his name, not Wendell's. Nelson, sorry. And it turns out that it looks like he was hypnotized. Well, Kent Brockman is telling the news about all these academics going on.
Why, Homer Simpson is polishing his bowling ball.
Homer!
And and of course, Dr. Lovejoy.
And there's Grandpa talking about these mutant eggs.
No, those mutant eggs bit me on the backside!
My gosh. Now it turns out that that Jimbo, he's got a Band-Aid in his nose. Right here. And of course, two boys making faces, and they stayed that way.
And of course there's Barney wiggling around and counting.
And of course, Principal Skinner is getting outraged. It turns out that one of their flags was cut off, and it's the flag of the Springfield Elementary. And still going on about the war, as always. And now in other news, we're going to be talking about a mutant duff can. All of a sudden, Milhouse used the Bart signal, and Bartman showed up. And now this is interesting. Turns out that inside the tree of his tree house, Bartman has a Bart cave. Why didn't I get a cave? They used this huge computer to cipher everything until Bartman got back into the high school and went to Principal Skinner's office and found a safe.
And there's groundskeeper Willie, trying to stop whoever's going in.
Aye. But it turns out that the hypnotizing disc is gone. But somebody already used it to make all the teachers act like chicken.
Hey! Hey!
It's witchcraft! And of course, Wendell, the smart kid, gave the disc to Principal Skinner. And that's the last time Groundskeeper Willie saw the disc. And this is their bad guy this time. Bart Simpson tried to do a little graffiti, and turns out that he tried to hypnotize him with the disc. But of course, Bartman made his escape. And here comes one of the mutant eggs being chased by the cops. Ah, why don't you... Blast those mutant eggs, slip right out of the handcuffs. Hold. Anyway, after the whole fight between this imposter and Bartman, all of a sudden, Bartman pulled the lever, and he fell into the mixed flour. Anyway, as Bart picked up the disc, out comes the imposter coming out of the mixed flour. But of course, Bartman used the hypno disc to hypnotize him, and it turns out it is Principal Skinner. So now Bartman put that hypnosis disc in his cave, and now the next day, Springfield Elementary flag is sewn back, and of course, Principal Skinner is still hypnotized. But as he comes into the classroom,
What the? Control yourself, people! What are you doing? Get off that egg!
and that was the end of this issue. Now this one is a mixture of all three of the comics. The Itchy and Scratchy, the Simpson comic, and Bartman meets Radioactive Man. Now for those of you who don't know who Radioactive Man is, he's the made-up character for the Simpsons. He's supposed to be a superhero who survived from a radioactive explosion, so now it gave him superpowers. Watching Itchy and Scratchy. Did you know that Itchy and Scratchy was actually a a parody to Tom and Jerry? I mean, everybody always complained about Tom and Jerry being so violent, but Itchy and Scratchy, they got nothing on them. Oh, and there's old Krusty the Clown. Hey, kids! But something strange is happening. The TV starts acting all weird. Maggie walked towards it, as the TV going all zzz. And as the TV exploded, out comes Itchy and Scratchy. Oh boy, they're making a huge mess. And they made a huge wall through their house.
And of course Homer decided to ground him.
And of course Bart, he doesn't take this lying down. He saw a bunch of can of spray paint. Think he could do a little graffiti. And then there's old Ned Flanders. Idly doodly, neighbor.
Shut up, Flanders!
Oakley dokley. And of course everybody from Springfield is there. Even Homer wearing an old shirt. It looks like it's too big for him. Called Krusty Springfield 1994. Huh. And old Krusty the Clown shows up to get his annual reward.
from Mr. Burns.
And don't forget Smithers, sir.
Oh, yes, you, Smithers.
Anyway, out comes the bus driven by Itchy and Scratchy. And of course, there's Otto from the Quickie Mart. And all of a sudden, Itchy and Scratchy still chasing each other in a nuclear power plant. And all of a sudden, a big boom coming. And it's time for Bartman. Now the explosion, the radiation, turned the entire people of Springfield into superpower beings. Huh, imagine that. Anyway, Marge becomes this super-powered woman called the Entangler, where her hair can use like an extra pair of hands. Homer Simpson becomes the Incredible Bulk, all big and green and always hungry.
Bulk Crunch.
Jazzler, Lisa using her saxophone and play some jazz music. Grandpa become Como, while the bullies, they become supervillains called the Wild Brats. Itchy and Scratchy are still fighting. Everybody. And of course, what started this whole entire catastrophe, turns out,
It was Kang and Kodos.
you know, the two aliens. I love those aliens, Kang and Kordos. And of course, they also kidnapped the teenage boy, who is a mascot dressing up as Scratchy. It turns out that they were using the projector to make things come to life out of TV, and that's when Itchy and Scratchy came out. And of course, Millhouse, he becomes the Scarlet Wimpler, Rimplenair, I forgot the name, who has a sonic screech name. So the only way Bart Simpson can stop this, he decided to summon Radioactive Man, but from the old black and white serials. But it turns out they're just actors, they're not the characters themselves. So now they're off somewhere else. So now he decided to go to his comic book and get Radioactive Man from the comic. And then, boom!
Out comes Radioactive Man.
And of course, Bartman and Radioactive Man are fighting all those super-powered people. Until they finally figured out a way to turn everybody back to normal. That camera that Ned Flanders has, it had everybody recorded before the blast. So what they're going to do is they're going to film the thing on the television and boom, things will be back to normal the way it is. Kang and Kordos showed up to stop them until Millhouse shows up. And of course, Radioactive Man remembered he was a member of the Super Squid membership card. Team of superheroes, their version of Justice League. If he helps other superheroes, he'll be out of the membership. And of course, Radioactive Man was asking Bart how he knew all this, what's going on. And it turns out Maggie became Brain Baby. She telepathically told him what's going on. And then they finally zapped, and now everything went back to normal. And Bart Simpson remembered what's going on. And as Kang and Kordos was about ready to start the mass, Bart Simpson shut off the machine, and it reversed. And of course, it turns out the comic, now Radioactive Man lost his membership. And of course, the nerd, he got fired. And of course, after the stories, you get this numbered names of all the characters. And this here is Bartman. Hey! Ay, caramba! I cannot believe that I'm being remembered here. Bartman, what are you doing here? I'm just swinging by to see if there's any more Simpson fans around. So if any of you like this review, eat my shorts. Now, there's a lot of comic books about Bartman out there, but sadly I didn't collect any of them. But one thing I would say that Bartman should have is a #1 arch nemesis. And I drew a picture of him. I mean, he needs like a Joker character, and I don't mean Krusty the Clown, because Krusty's his favorite. But the only person I think who'll be the Joker in the comic? Sideshow Bob, also known as Joker Bob. When it comes to artwork, I can't help it. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, I've seen the Simpsons movie. My thoughts about the movie, it was good. Not great, but it's good. I mean, it was okay. But the one I liked the most, though, I played the Simpsons video game on PlayStation 2. You know what? I should get this game on the PlayStation 3. Better graphics and all that. Might be a lot fun. A lot more fun than the PlayStation 2 version. But for those of you who has Xbox 360 or PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3 or Wii, you can find this game for your systems and enjoy it. It's a lot better than the movie. Well, this here is Grim Man, and the people needs me. So long.